Check, check, check. There he is. What is going on? How are we doing today? Back again for lucky episode number 13 of Twin City Trivia, the podcast. I am Adam. It is April 17th, 2026. And we're jumping right into the action. Our top teams from last week included Sunday, the Sugar-Free Red Peen playing at Shake It Up Cocktail Lounge here in Bloomington. Get used to hearing that. Monday, we had the Library Lushes. They played at Westside Blono here in Bloomington. Tuesday, scruffy-looking Nerf Herders at Fat Jack's here in Bloomington. Wednesday, our top team of the night, Your Terrible Mother is Getting Hitched. They played at Brewski's Pub in Springfield. And on Thursday, Firmly Grasp It. We're our number one team at DR McKay's here in Bloomington. We took a night off on Friday, and Saturday, we were back with You're a Quizzard, Harry, our number one team who played at Casper Brewing in Bloomington. So congratulations to all of our Bloomington-based teams. Congratulations to our Springfield-based team as well. Thank you all for joining us. Regular players all around, so happy to see that. My favorite team names last week: in third place, E equals MC Hammered. Second, Adam versus Justice Beaver, the final battle. That referencing a week that I took off from hosting at Little Beaver. JD, the gentleman who subbed for me, brought a beaver puppet. So now my teams there are spoiled and want more puppets, which I said, probably I'm not your guy. You know, I don't want to steal a guy's bit. Might as well kiss his wife. It's like swinging a hammer in his house. Between guys, it's just something we don't do unless asked. And our number one team, Appetizer, I Barely Know Her. Which, that joke just never gets old. However, it can get fresher. I like to say, Appetizer? This woman I barely know? Keeps it nice and fresh. But with that, let's go ahead and take a check of the rules, courtesy of Rule Betty. Rule Betty, take it away.
Twin City Trivia, the podcast, puts players through 5 category rounds of 5 questions each, before ending on a final round consisting of 1 final question from each previous round. After 3 rounds, players will complete a halftime challenge, brought to you each episode by a special guest. The scoring is optional. The fun, however, is mandatory.
All right, with the rules out of the way, everybody knowing how to play, I don't have any announcements for you today. Whoa, that all rhymed. Let's get into it with round number 1. Round number 1 is called Highs, Fives, and High Fives. That's because today is National High Five Day. Now, I usually celebrate privately, but I'm making an exception to celebrate with you in this round of questions. No thanks necessary. Something I'm happy to do. Question number 1. Rising above the plains of Tanzania near the equator, the snow-capped summit of what mountain is the highest point on the African continent? Number 2, the word homes, that's H-O-M-E-S, is a mnemonic device helpful in remembering all 5 of what vast geographical features that separate the Midwest from Canada? Number 3, after teaching it how to thumbs up in the first movie, John Connor teaches the T-800 how to give me 5 in what 1991 sequel? Number 4, while the psychoactive THCA found in cannabis is federally illegal, hemp-derived, lab-rendered THC by what name is still federally legal? And finally, number 5, high schoolers Trini, Zach, Billy, Kimberly, and Jason were the original 5 members of what Earth Defense Force? All right, back up to the top for your answers, starting with number 1. Rising above the plains of Tanzania near the equator, the snow-capped summit of what mountain is the highest point on the African continent? That was Mount Kilimanjaro. Number 2, the word homes is a mnemonic device helpful in remembering all 5 of what vast geographical features that separate the Midwest from Canada. Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior are the Great Lakes. See, it worked. I didn't read that off of anything. I remembered it with the power of my own brain and a mnemonic device. And because I looked when I wrote the question. Number 3, after teaching it how to thumbs up in the first movie, John Connor teaches the T-800 how to give me 5. In what 1991 sequel? That was Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Number 4, while the psychoactive THCA found in cannabis is still federally illegal, hemp-derived lab-rendered THC by what name is still federally legal? It will be Delta 9. They also have Delta 8 and I believe Delta 10. So if you're one of those freaks who buys your stuff from the gas station or the same place that you can get your incense and a rolling tray with a picture of Rick and Morty on it, then you probably guessed one of those and they would be correct. I personally would advise you to change the way you're living your life and just go to the dispensary. And number 5, high schoolers Trini, Zach, Billy, Kimberly, and Jason were the original 5 members of what Earth Defense Force? Now, they were joined by Tommy later on, but these 5 were recruited out of high school. They were the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the very first iteration of the Power Rangers, of which there were several. Maybe we'll revisit that for a halftime challenge in an episode coming up. But that is going to do it for round number 1. Let's get into round number 2. Round number 2 is called On This Day, as in on this day in history. I figured I'd save a couple keystrokes there and waste my time explaining it to you instead. Stuff. Like it or not, it happens. So here's some stuff that happened on this day. Question number 1. Despite its still living author, it's unlikely that what highly acclaimed book series will ever conclude due in part to the abortion of its TV adaptation, which debuted today in 2011. Now I'm asking for the name of the book series, not the TV show. Number 2, splashing down today in 1970 after an oxygen tank explosion forced an aborted lunar landing. What NASA mission was dramatized with the help of Tom Hanks? Number 3, starring as the title character in a 2015 sequel that debuted today, what actor is best known for playing security guard Paul Blart? Number 4, beginning on April 17th, 1961, as a failed CIA-backed invasion of Cuba, what Cold War event saw Cuban exiles attempt to overthrow Fidel Castro? Finally, question number 5, driven by Steve McQueen in the film Bullet, and first unveiled at the 1964 New York World's Fair on April 17th, what Ford model became an automotive icon? All right, questions out of the way, answers coming now. Back to the top. Question number 1. Despite its still living author, it's unlikely that what highly acclaimed book series will ever conclude due in part to the abortion of its TV adaptation, which debuted today in 2011. That is A Song of Ice and Fire, which is the basis for the show Game of Thrones. Interestingly enough, for Christmas, my wife got me the box set of all the books in A Song of Ice and Fire so far. And in the back of each book, they advertise that the first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones are now available for streaming and to buy on Blu-ray. You'll recall that there were 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, and these books were published in 2024. So even they don't want to talk about the last 2 seasons. Question number 2, splashing down today in 1970 after an oxygen tank explosion forced an aborted lunar landing, what NASA mission was dramatized with the help of Tom Hanks? A fitting NASA mission for the 13th episode of the podcast. That would be Apollo 13. Houston, we have a podcast. Number 3, starring... What if they said that instead? That would be funny. Number 3, starring as the title character in a 2015 sequel that debuted today, what actor is best known for playing security guard Paul Blart? That would be Kevin James. One of the best people to ever start a NASCAR race with the Gentlemen Start Your Engines. Go look it up. It's incredible. Number 4, beginning on April 17th, 1961, as a failed CIA-backed invasion of Cuba, what Cold War event saw Cuban exiles attempt to overthrow Fidel Castro? That was the Bay of Pigs invasion. Finally, number 5, driven by Steve McQueen in the film Bullitt and first unveiled at the 1964 New York World's Fair on April 17th, what Ford model became an automotive icon? That would be the Ford Mustang. Hell of a vehicle. All right, let's go ahead, waste no time getting into round number 3. Round number 3 is called Knives Out. And no, I'm not talking about the Rian Johnson series, but you'll still need to stay sharp because this round is all about knives and bladed weapons. Just the kind of stuff that we like to ask questions about around here. For example, question number 1. What naturally occurring volcanic glass, historically used for cutting tools and still used in some surgical blades, can be sharper than steel on a microscopic level? Number 2, associated with mid-century street gangs for its instant deployment and easy concealment, a 1958 law banned what type of knife from interstate commerce? Number 3, what hands-free combat attachment prevalent in the Revolutionary War had triangular or serrated forms restricted by The Hague in 1907 for causing unnecessary suffering? Number 4, originating in the Philippines, what folding knife, commonly known as a butterfly knife, uses 2 rotating handles to conceal and deploy its blade? Finally, question number 5, named for an American frontiersman, what large fixed blade knife featured famously in the movie Crocodile Dundee? All right, back to the top for our answers before our halftime challenge. Starting at number 1, what naturally occurring volcanic glass historically used for cutting tools and still used in some surgical blades can be sharper than steel at a microscopic level? That is obsidian. Obsidian, which is a type of igneous rock. Number 2, associated with mid-century street gangs for its instant deployment and easy concealment, a 1958 law banned what type of knife from interstate commerce? That was the switchblade. Now, what that means is it's still legal to own one, I believe. You just can't buy one. So, there you go. Number 3, what hands-free combat attachment prevalent in the Revolutionary War had triangular or serrated forms restricted by The Hague in 1907 for causing unnecessary suffering? That would be the bayonet. So pretty much you can attach a knife to the end of your rifle or nothing at all. Those triangular blades were meant to create wounds that were very, very hard to close. So you're pretty much just guaranteeing this person's going to bleed out when you use it. Serrated, same deal. Number 4, originating in the Philippines, what folding knife, commonly known as a butterfly knife, uses 2 rotating handles to conceal and deploy its blade? That would be the balisong. I like the ones that have a comb inside instead, or like a spoon for eating cereal, or a really small spoon for really small cereal. And finally, number 5, named for an American frontiersman, what large fixed blade knife featured famously in the movie Crocodile Dundee? It's not a knife. This is a knife. It's a Bowie knife. All right, that's going to do it for your answers. Let's hear about that halftime challenge. Rulebot, what do we got?
The strangeness of Australia cannot be overstated. Along with its unique flora and fauna, it is so large it can't be classified as an island. However, it is the only continent comprised of a single country. Australia has also spawned some of the highest paid actors in cinematic history. For your halftime challenge, you will have 30 seconds to name the top 7 highest grossing Australian actors to date. Your time starts now.
And time is up. For your halftime challenge, what'd you think? Who'd you guess? Well, I'm going to tell you who you should have guessed. And I'm going to do it in ascending order from lowest to highest. Now, these are all generally rough estimates. Starting with 7th place, Sam Worthington, who you may remember as Jake Sully from the Avatar films. $4 billion lifetime box office gross across 35 films, most of that coming from Avatar. In 6th place, I was surprised to learn this one, is Nicole Kidman. She's been in so many things. She's been in 80 films, and she's grossed $5 billion across her box office career. In 5th place, we got Russell Crowe. He's earned about $5.5 billion across 65 films. Directly ahead of him, in 4th place, Margot Robbie. About $9 billion across 30 films. Helps that she's been in some comic book adaptations as well as the Barbie movie. Speaking of comic book adaptations, in 3rd place, we have Hugh Jackman. $10 billion box office gross across 45 films. Of course, his work as Wolverine didn't hurt. Keeping in line with the comic book adaptation, we have Chris Hemsworth, of course. $11 billion, 35 films, much of that due to playing Thor, but some other big movies as well. And our number one highest grossing Australian actor of all time, might surprise you, that was Cate Blanchett. $13 billion across 70 films for Ms. Blanchett, due in big part to the Lord of the Rings series where she played Galadriel, but she was also in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, back during a time where reboots we still had hope for. So big gross for that movie as well. But yes, Cate Blanchett, your number one. That's going to do it for your halftime challenge. Hopefully you guessed those actors correctly. And if you guessed them in the right order, how did you do that? You're cheating. I don't believe you if you weren't cheating and you did it. Let's go ahead and get into round number 4, and we'll talk about this later. Round number 4 is called BAT Appreciation Day. And that's because today is National Bat Appreciation Day, which is rich, considering you have to get shots if you find one in your house. So let's instead appreciate the letters BAT, which can be found in each of your answers. Let's get into it. Question number 1. In orchestras, what handheld tool used by a conductor shares its name with a long rectangular cut often used for carrots? Number 2, meaning word for word repetition or quotation. What term is commonly used in legal or transcription contexts to indicate exact phrasing? Number 3, Bob Kane and Bill Finger created what brooding comic book vigilante in 1939 in response to a certain Kryptonian hero? Number 4, this isn't a question, just finish this sentence. Bears beats blank. Number 5, before inhabiting the Mind Palace of Sanctus Sanctorum in the MCU, what actor often explored his Mind Palace as Sherlock Holmes on the BBC? All right, back to the top for answers, starting with number 1. In orchestras, what handheld tool used by a conductor shares its name with a long rectangular cut often used for carrots? That would be the baton. The drum majors in a marching band use a slightly larger version. Number 2, meaning word for word repetition or quotation. What term is commonly used in legal or transcription contexts to indicate exact phrasing? That would be verbatim. Number 3, Bob Kane and Bill Finger created what brooding comic book vigilante in 1939 in response to a certain Kryptonian hero? That would be, of course, Batman, who you also need to get shots for if you come in contact with him. Number 4, finish this sentence. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. That, of course, a famous quote from The Office. You've probably come across some form of millennial individual who has maybe a bumper sticker or a sign hanging in their apartment or sitting on their desk, or maybe it's been a Facebook status, maybe it's in the bio of something. Millennials love The Office. is what I'm saying there. Battlestar Galactica, your answer number 4. Number 5, before inhabiting the Palace of Sanctus Sanctorum in the MCU, what actor often explored his mind palace as Sherlock Holmes on the BBC? That would be Benedict Cumberbatch, who played Sherlock for a few seasons on the BBC. And in researching that question, I found out that the mind palace is a real thing. It is a mnemonic, rhetorical way to remember information by literally just imagining it as a piece of furniture inside of a palace in your mind. Great if it works for you. Honestly, bizarre to learn about. But you do you. There's no wrong way to do it. That's going to do it for round number 4. However, let's get into round number 5. All right, on to round number 5. Round number 5 is called Lucky 17. It's because a haiku contains 17 syllables. It's also National Haiku Day today. So guess the subject of each of these poems written by me from the heart. Rulebot, can we get some haiku style music going? That's perfect. Number 1. Behold, arches glow. Dessert sounds pretty good. Oh, ice cream machine broke. Number 2. Bourbon and bitters with simple syrup on ice. Stir till chilled. I'm drunk. Number 3. Guys with microphones talking about what again? Why do I listen? Number 4. First the Cavaliers, then the Heat and Lakers. Rings, one every time. Finally, number 5. Levitt and Leo. Is that Cillian Murphy? Dream within a dream. I'm feeling very zen right now. Let's go back and see what exactly inspired me to write these poems. Starting with number 1. Behold, arches glow. Dessert sounds pretty good. Oh, ice cream machine broke. Something you might experience at McDonald's. McDonald's inspiring that one. Number 2. Bourbon and bitters with simple syrup on ice. Stir till chilled. I'm drunk. That is inspired by the old-fashioned, the original cocktail. Number 3, guys with microphones. Talking about what again? Why do I listen? Written about podcasts. Not this podcast, of course, but other podcasts. Number 4, first the Cavaliers, then the Heat and Lakers. Rings, one every time. Written about the GOAT, LeBron James. And finally, number 5, Levitt and Leo. Is that Cillian Murphy? Dream within a dream. Now, when I was writing these poems, I was watching the movie Inception. And that is your answer for number 5. We have one more of these to go in the final round. And speaking of the final round, let's go. Excuse me while I get my energy back up. Man, I'm having trouble getting that energy back. Mr. Rulebot, can you please drop a beat for us so we can get back to where we need to be to finish this episode out? Yes, sir, it's working. I feel it. All right, enough of that. This isn't Fortnite, even though it sounds like it. Let's go ahead and get into the final round. Final round, of course, consisting of one final question from each previous category. Let's go. Question number 1. From round 1's highs, fives, and high fives. One of the first recorded instances of the high five occurred in 1977 when Glenn Burke and Dusty Baker performed it while playing for what West Coast baseball team? 2 from round 2's On This Day. One of the only founding fathers to have signed the Declaration of Independence, the Treaty of Paris, and the Constitution. What turkey-loving American statesman died today in 1790? Number 3 from round 3's Knives Out. The act of quickly running a knife against a coarse steel rod does not sharpen the edge. Rather, it does what to the blade, which realigns its edge? Number 4 from round 4's BAT Appreciation Day. Remember, BAT will be found in your answer. In Microsoft Windows, what type of file, whose file extension was made for this round, is used to execute a series of command line instructions automatically? Round number 5, Lucky 17, question number 5. Remember, this is your haiku round. Here's your poem. You thought numbers sucked. Now they're adding letters? I can't solve for X. All right, let's take it back to the top. Find out those final answers, starting with number 1. One of the first recorded instances of the high five occurred in 1977 when Glenn Burke and Dusty Baker performed it while playing for what West Coast baseball team? Amazing that before 1977, people weren't high-fiving each other. So when you go back and watch those period pieces, call them out. They weren't high-fiving. That was the LA Dodgers. The LA Dodgers for number 1. Number 2, one of the only founding fathers to have signed the Declaration of Independence, the Treaty of Paris, and the Constitution. What turkey-loving American statesman died today in 1790? That was Benjamin Franklin. Number 3, the act of quickly running a knife against a coarse steel rod does not sharpen the edge. Rather, it does what to the blade, which realigns the edge? It hones the edge. That rod is a honing rod. Number 4, in Microsoft Windows, what type of file, whose file extension was made for this round, is used to execute a series of command line instructions automatically? Now, it wasn't actually made for this round, okay? They didn't know that I was going to be doing this when they came up with it, but that is a batch file. A batch file. When I was a sophomore in high school, I got suspended from using any of the school computers in the district because my friends and I figured out how to start writing these batch files. And so we would write ones and then disguise them as emails so that when our teacher clicked on them, it would open the CD tray over and over and over and over again. And then the one that got us suspended was we put the computers in a reboot cycle where one of the conditions to run the program was just the fact that the computer was turning on. So it would turn on, you'd have 30 seconds to find the file and delete it, or it would shut the computers down. And they found out that I was doing that. But my favorite one that I ever wrote was the cup holder. I programmed a cup holder for the computer. And what you did was you clicked on it, and it just popped the CD tray out. You set your glass on there and see a little cup holder. So yeah, not really something you can do anymore. But that is going to take us into our final question of the day, which was not a question, it was a poem. Number 5, you thought numbers sucked. Now they're adding letters? I can't solve for X. Now, regular mathematics isn't a specific enough answer. I needed algebra. Algebra. Your answer there. That is going to do it for the episode. However, thank you so much for sticking around, sitting by, answering some questions, and learning some things. Having a little fun along the way. I'll be back with you next week for episode number 14. And then we'll be back at Little Beaver the following week for our live edition. So until then, I love you. Goodbye.
This has been a production of Twin City Trivia, in collaboration with Middle Tropic Media, copyright 2026. All questions are the sole, intellectual property of Twin City Trivia. Any unauthorized use is forbidden, and punishable to the fullest extent of my Black Vector CL-20 anti-personnel rockets. And the law. Remember, your friend Rulebot says, always, follow the rules.